Hey, welcome to the Kink'D AF podcast. We're your hosts, Mika,
Frankie,
Khira,
Alex,
and Krystle.
here to sort of detangle the kinks.
Wait, like combing?
No, we're not combing out our hair. We're deconditioning.
Unlearning the ideas that were imposed on us by others.
Sharing our stories as Black and brown women navigating the kinks of life, from personal growth, healing, and friendship.
Even the things too kinky to talk about in the office.
We're Kink'D AF.
What up, Kinksters?
What?
We are here today to introduce the new topic of this week.
Girl, if you don't stop snapping. Please.
Are we doing
overcompensating.
spoken word topic of the week?
We are talking about
This is not Jason's lyric. Somebody get her a stress ball so she can like hit that instead of snapping and shit.
pretty privilege.
Pretty hurts.
Bitch!
I don't know the words. What?
The fact that you were really going in, eyes closed, head tilted.
I sound better than Mario.
She put the fingertip to her ear.
Is this thing on?
So pretty privilege.
What the fuck is
Pretty privilege. Everybody got pretty privilege. And it's something that we would like to introduce to you guys. I'm pretty sure you're aware or not aware, whatever it is, we gonna make you aware. Cause I know I use it.
Listen, you. I don't know.
I am ashamed and not also ashamed.
Are you talking about her eyes being
You're
closed?
going. Okay, so let's share the story. Right?
Yeah,
let's share the
let's do
story.
it.
The story is that Frankie and I were out one night. We were running late to some function that was ticketed. And we were looking for parking. I think we were at the AAC, American Airlines Center. Not sure. I don't remember what the function was either. Maybe it was a Mark Anthony concert. I don't know. So we're running late. And I'm like, bitch, we late. And she's like, and she, don't do that because I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking.
What is she
So
thinking?
just go ahead and say it.
What?
What you're
Say
thinking.
Why you bust out laughing like that?
Because is the like they're running late and to say bitch we late like it's the obvious in that moment.
It's too late now. What am I gonna do?
Yes, it's
Rewind time. It'd be
It's
on
too
time.
late now.
But wait, she goes, man, we're going to get in. We light skinned.
Fuck boy Frankie.
I was like, bitch, what? You can't say that.
But it was just us two in the car. But it's true.
Did y'all get in?
Unfortunately.
We got in.
We got in.
But if you had a ticket, I don't understand. Why wouldn't they let you in if you have a ticket?
Because we were late and it was past the grace period.
The doors would close.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you got to
I
make
was
it at
like,
a certain
make it
time.
make sense. Thanks.
So she was appalled, especially with her being a leader of diversity and inclusion as well as myself.
Racial equity is important.
Yeah, racial equity. Yes. A whole word. But it was true. I mean, listen, we look good. We look tasty. Men are going to say yes. And it's okay to wield that power. Unfortunately, my dad doesn't think I know how to use that power. But guess what, Poppy? I do.
Okay.
You sound angry.
That's another conversation.
So, you know, it's true. It's true that you're aware and we are aware a lot of times, some of us are aware. I don't want to say being light skinned is a power. I don't think that's
yes,
what you
it
mean.
is. It's called light skin privilege.
Okay,
It's a
thing. That's true.
It's a thing.
It's a
Light
thing.
skin privilege is a thing.
It's a thing.
It's definitely
I
a
was
thing.
taught that at a very early age. You know how they say, oh, dark skinned men are in or dark skin? And I remember my aunt telling me, she was like, you're light skinned, you're always going to be in. And I was like, huh? Because I have a complex where I get offended when someone calls me light skinned because it takes me further away from blackness. Because I'm not seen as black because I am lighter skin with a finer texture of hair. Now I have locks, so I think that was me overcompensating.
We all overcompensate.
Say for something. So like, when someone calls me light skin, I'll be like, I'm brown, I'm dark. And they were like, no, ma'am. And so I don't realize I have that privilege, but I also want to be far away from that because I consider it, it's like.
And also, go ahead.
No. I think that that's how I perceived it right before you said it is a power, right? Because
colorism.
Because when you're not, like, if you are who you are until it's brought to your attention, you don't realize that you have that advantage, privilege, or power, or gift, or whatever you want to call it, right? Until it's brought to your attention, or you experience seeing somebody treated different than you for that reason, or you suspect it's for that reason. Sometimes, let's be real, we always know. Like we understand the microaggressions, we sense them, we know when they're coming out. But yeah, pretty is definitely a privilege. It's not always something that you are aware of. And it doesn't always mean that because you're light skinned, you're pretty. That's not what we're saying on this
No,
episode.
because there's some chocolate girls. Woo.
Yes. And so, yeah, so I think.
My pet.
What were you going to
No,
say?
I love chocolate.
Milk
Chocolate.
chocolate, dark chocolate, special dark.
Like growing up, you want to hear a funny story because people are like, oh, you know, you hear dark skinned girls saying, oh, I want to be light skinned. I want to be dark. Because they were beautiful to
Right.
me. That chocolate, ooh.
Yo, that asked me too. Like
Skin
living
so
in Florida,
clear.
I stayed tanning. Like I was that
Yeah.
corny coworker. Like, oh, I'm almost as dark as you.
Oh my God.
I've said that. I've said that because I wanted to be.
But meanwhile,
it's
I'm the
real,
girl
though.
when they say that they are my color.
Being light skinned, your body really never matches. Like your legs don't match your arms.
Yo, it sucks.
And
Damn.
I'm light skinned and I have black body hair. And it's thick.
Well, black body hair is not a monolith. Because my body hair is, well, I don't know if I want to share that.
You got some
It's
red hairs
straight.
down there?
It's straight. And I'll see others that are kinky.
Huh.
Yeah, mine is super straight.
I wanna see later.
Asian-like. Let's go to Spot Castle.
You can just pull your pants down when we're done. No.
Doesn't sound like we're talking about all
no
body hair.
lesbian.
It clearly sounds like we're talking
I'm
about
just
pubic
curious because
hair.
again, like she said, like with black women, it's curly.
But pulling it back from just skin, because here's the thing. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
That is the truth.
Pretty is interchangeable. It doesn't have to be skin. It doesn't have to be hair. It could be eyes. It could be anything. It depends on who's in the position of power to grant you access to whatever it is you need and what their definition is pretty.
That is true.
The majority, unfortunately, we get conditioned by culture.
You're
Kim K.
eccentric.
Kim K is a standard for some reason. And the more you look more like that, the more access you get to different
The
things.
fake bodies.
Yeah.
I will say, I think that, so for people that don't know on the podcast, me and Krystle are black. And then
We're regular.
regular black.
I don't have a flag.
That's true.
You have a flag. I don't
Man,
even have a flag.
That's true. I do. I have Jamaican flags.
I don't
Yeah,
have a
Dominican
flag.
flag.
I mean, no, hold on.
No,
I'm
you don't
saying-
get it. Okay, so like,
I was just explaining that
Okay.
me and Krystle are like American black, and everybody else. Well, Alex is Honduran, and then Mika and Frankie are black with the salsa.
well, they're Afro-Latinos.
So this is a great set. Yes. So the conversation.
I like that black with salsa.
You
I'm going to ask, I never heard of Afro-Latina until like my late 20s. I'm like,
Yeah.
when did
Really?
they call
Even in
Well,
it?
Florida?
it's, yeah, it kind of became a trendy thing recently.
And
it's
I'm
not.
and in a way, I felt that we became segregated even more.
You think so?
Yeah, because there was always colorism existing, and then now to put, I mean, I look at y'all and can say Latina. I mean,
But that's funny. I look
But that's
at them
not
and
my
say black.
experience.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
that's not your.
That's not your
Yeah,
experience.
I see black women in
So
front of
then that's what it got educated. Like it's they kind of categorize. Well, I don't know if they did, like categorized it for your. It was based on experience, but not to segregate our culture. And I was just like, no, Latina is Latina.
Yeah,
And that's being a black person. That's also how I felt because I didn't understand the concept of Afro-Latina and what that actually meant. I thought that meant that one of your parents was black, but like American black, and
then
they don't
you had
want
a
to.
Latino parent.
In my case, you had a Latino. Well, yeah, in your case, that's what it is. But shout out to Juliet. She's Colombian, and a person that I met when I lived in Waco, and she is Afro-Latina through and through. Like she's darker than me, and for the longest time, I didn't realize. Oh no, both of her parents parents are from Colombia and they're black.
Yeah.
Well, her father's black. And I was just like, no, but which one of your parents is like American black? And she's like, no, we're all from Colombia.
Yeah.
And I had to then think about like the African diaspora.
Yeah, that's
Because
the
sometimes
word.
I be
There you
wanting to
go.
say the diaspora.
I be saying this for
The African
from the
diaspora.
diaspora.
And I'm like, oh yeah, we did get dropped off
Yeah.
in different
Same shit.
different
And
plantations.
I explained that
Same
to my
ship,
students
different port.
because they
Yeah.
were like, he raised his hand like I think it was on this baby's brain. He was like, Miss Thomas, is it true I'm African American? I'm like, baby, I don't know yet. Well, I don't know. Are you? And he goes, well, you know, I'm morena. I'm moreno. And he was like, I said, let me give you a lesson real quick. I pulled that map up. I said, okay. Well, what you're taught in school is that the little, you know, not the bus. The
boat.
The boat. Thank you. The boat went here. But no, the boat went here. And I just started drawing arrows everywhere
Yeah.
to South America. And I said, could you be, the term wouldn't be African American, the term would just be African. Possibly. But that would be you finding your ancestry, you know?
It was so funny. We had a little boy. He got transferred into the school, and me and one of the other black teachers saw him, and we were like, "Oh, we got a new ESL, like because we have ESL and bilingual classes. We got a new ESL student, and that's where the normal black kids and the Asians and all of them go." And so we walked up on him. We was like, "Hey, who are you?" Baby spoke not a piece of English, straight Spanish, like nothing but Spanish, and he was in a bilingual class, and we were like, sorry.
Take him out.
No, coming to Texas was a big culture shock because I was born and raised in Florida. So I know you can be black, but that doesn't mean you don't speak Spanish.
Right.
So when
In
I came to
Texas,
Texas,
You
like
walking up to black people speaking Spanish?
I went up to black people talking Spanish, and they're like, "No, ma'am." Not,
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah.
very
different.
Yeah.
They couldn't. I was like, "Yes." They're like, "I'm black." I'm like,
Okay.
"Yeah, okay, I see that." Pero te estoy hablando. They're like, "No, ma'am." So that was a big culture shock here when I moved here.
I want to circle back to what you said. That was very important. Because when the Afro-Latino Afro-Latinx movement started, it caused a lot of confusion, and people felt like it's more division. It's sort of like the lives matter versus Black Lives Matter, and it's division. But the thing is, it's awareness of our experience so we can rectify the wrongs.
Yeah.
It's systematic. It's in our education. And it's in everything, and that's why we have to call it out. Because it is a different lifestyle and a walk of life. We had this conversation. I'm walking.
Who's we?
You and I, and we call each other at midnight. I'm in Orlando actually, and I'm loving it. I feel back home, like I'm in New York. But identity. We have varying different identities. How you just said Afro-Latina, the actual definition of Afro-Latina is that your ancestry has to come from a Black South America. So I shared this with her, but it may not be the case because you identify as Afro-Latina, but the Black side is your father.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. Black Latinos don't only exist in Central America.
Right.
That's Puerto Rican.
We have
Dominicans.
South America.
Yes.
We have Central America.
Yep.
North America. Because the diaspora hit all the Americas.
Yes.
And everything in between.
Yes.
And so that sounds like that definition was basically saying to Afro-Latinidad that Afro-Latinidad is a monolith. And it is not.
Right.
It's layered. So the way that I identify as an Afro-Latina is because, yes, my father is Afro-American, African-American, American Black, whatever you want to call him. He's a Black man. My mom is Puerto Rican. Together, I am both Afro and Latina. And the only way for that to make sense to people, because a lot of times when you're talking about identity, you have to talk about identity from the perspective from, you have your identity. It's important for you to know how you identify, how you self-identify, and how you present in the world. And it's important for you to know how you present in the world because the world is going to give you a fucking experience that whether you are ready or not, you're going to have to swallow. And what happened with me was being very light-skinned, moving here to Texas, and being raised with my Hispanic family primarily. When I came to Texas, I was with my Black side. That's cool. But when I came to Texas, it was like, y'all don't know anything about the Confederacy. So for me, it was also a shock. It was also a culture shock because I'm from the East Coast, the Bronx. We ain't talking about the motherfucking Confederate flag. And let's be real, everybody in New York mostly everybody in New York looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If they not Dominican, they Puerto Rican and Dominican. If they not Puerto Rican and Dominican, they Puerto Rican and black and Dominican.
Cuban.
Like, yeah. And so everybody looks trigueño. Weak complexion. You know what I'm saying? I say everybody. That sounds fucked up. A lot of people. Most of the people where I live. So I never felt out of place. And I always very much felt like a Latina until people had to say my name who were Hispanic and did not know how to pronounce my name. And I'm like, how the fuck can you not say ta, Mika? We literally use those syllables in Spanish.
They can say Tampico.
They can say something like
How do they mess up your name in Spanish?
Because it's
girl. So there, the best, you know, there's so many ways, but the best one is my friend's father, who I hold him, you know, dearly. You know, I have mad love for your dad, bro. But he never stopped calling me Jamaica.
What?
And it was a joke because when I was younger, it was funny. But now, if that were to happen now, I'd correct somebody. Like, no, my name is Tamika, and in Spanish it's pronounced this way. Like, it's important to get
How do
your
you
name.
pronounce it in Spanish?
I say Tamika.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Just make
but
sure it
also,
wasn't-
no, that's it. But also, like, people, a lot of times when people speak Spanish to me, they want to call me Tami. I don't like being called Tammy, but I don't mind if somebody in Spanish just calls me Tami once in a while. I don't mind.
Right.
Yes, Tommy.
So I've had different nicknames, but yeah, the identity thing was important for me because when you look at paperwork, it's like, are you black non-Hispanic? Are you white non-Hispanic?
But you can't be black Hispanic. I never
Yeah,
thought about
and
Always
so I'm
threw
like,
me off. I
nah,
hated that
bro,
shit.
like,
I hated it.
and who are you looking for? Because if I fill out this paper, if I fill out this paper and I say black non-Hispanic, when they come in the room, whoever it is that's looking for me, they're not gonna think I'm black non-Hispanic.
Yeah.
Because I have curly hair
Yeah.
and I'm hella light skinned. And I always hear it all the time that you can always tell that I'm not fully this or
Really?
that.
Yeah. Oh.
So I'm
you
not
must be
fully
mixed
Hispanic.
with
I'm not fully black. Like you always hear it from people. Like you always know. So
My friend who's black said the same thing. She's never good enough for the Mexican side. She's never black enough for the black side.
I want to reference a resource that everybody can check out. She's a colleague, an old friend, Dash Harris. If you go on her Instagram, she is Diaspora Dash, and she has a Negro docu-series about the Afrolatinx experience. Dope ass series on YouTube. Definitely check it out. But speaking to that, we got into definition of identity because I was honest with her, and I felt like sometimes I felt ashamed, less than that she's fluent in Spanish, and I lost the language at 4. But my growing up experience is 100% Hispanic as fuck, but I can't speak the language. And when she can get in the room, she can go.
When she ordered the tacos
Yeah.
today, she was like, da-da-da-da, and I'm like,
See, and so it feels that's another pretty privilege right there. Like if we were in the room, she has preference over me with the Hispanic community.
and then I feel like
Yeah, go ahead.
stereotypically she's built like a black woman, right? I'm not. I know that we all look different. We all have different body sizes, different body shapes and stuff like that. But in a room full of black men, my sister right here shines. You know what I'm saying? She got the hips, she got the ass, you know, she got it all. So it
Thank
doesn't
you.
matter. Yeah, that doesn't, but also, yeah, that it matters because that's you. But I'm saying that doesn't matter. Just like me knowing Spanish and you not being fluent doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like you still identify as a Latina, Afro-Latina. You could do either one if you want to. You don't even have to say Afro-Latina if you don't want to.
And that is a privilege. I could switch.
You can switch
Code
if you
switch
want
the
to.
fuck.
And nobody can take that from you. Nobody can take that from you because you don't know the language.
Yeah. But what's funny is the underlying trigger that we feel. We don't bring it up because I don't care. You're my friend. I love you.
Yeah.
But when I walk in the room and you speak Spanish, I feel triggered. When you
Like,
walk in the
dang.
room with black brothers, you feel triggered. And it's like, that's the awareness of the privilege that, we're trying to hopefully, this is the call out, that you guys feel that you heighten your awareness of what that looks like. We did it.
I
I was just saying, I was like, did you feel triggered when I was talking to your dad?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh no,
What are
girl.
you talking
I'm
about?
trust
You were
me.
talking
I'm
to
used
Poppy
to
in
it.
Spanish?
Yeah.
No, well, it's not even that. My dad loves talking to my Spanish friends.
Yeah.
You're not the only one.
He's so sweet.
Yes.
I love your dad.
But
I'm
it's
calling
not-
Poppy like you my daddy.
Yo, don't. His wife is still jealous. Don't do that.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. She's triggered by me.
She's triggered by you. Not just,
Funny.
Because I'm black.
but no, it's not that I felt bad. I lost that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Trust. But it's simply the desire. Damn, I wish I had that.
Oh, well, that's a little different than what I was saying. but
What were you saying?
But you can wish you had to ask.
I'm sorry.
Oh, what?
No, let
mean,
me,
you both
let
can
me
fix
let you
it.
continue.
No,
and
just
I will tell you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That was
continue.
it.
Sorry,
No.
no, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Because I was clear to you.
Oh, but I was gonna say, yes, don't feel bad. But last weekend, Marlon Wayans, we used our pretty privilege. We got in the back door of a comedy club through the security, talked to the house manager, and they were not allowing anybody in, especially they mentioned on the walkie-talkie COVID zones. We got in. And we got in the green room and we got escorted and we got all access tags. Bitch, they didn't see us on no list. They really didn't have to check our tickets. We could have gotten free. I wish I did not pay. I really do.
I know.
There's no way if I showed up just like this, we would have gotten in. I'm sorry, with my 2-strand twist, we wouldn't have gotten in.
I don't know, bro.
And then with you, that was a bonus. So I knew, I was like, we're straight.
And I felt I was so useless in that situation. I just act like I didn't know English. I was like, oh, aquí soy con Frankie.
Wow. That's a privilege, bitch. How you gonna act like that's not?
You
you did it
that
before.
The first night we
Yeah,
hung out.
you did it
This
before.
dudes was trying to holler, here, Alex, como?
Yeah.
So, but I know
She
I just stood behind Frankie. She honestly, had it not been for you, she was, obviously the more dominant one in that.
That's hilarious.
Frankie
to get
got a
us-
mouthpiece, so that
Yep.
Yep.
So I just,
fuckboy Frankie.
I know my place due to childhood trauma, where to stand. But I do my place in that moment, and it was not to continue
said where to
talking.
stand.
It was to be quiet.
It was
To be seen and not
not
heard.
heard.
Shit.
So pretty privileged. You was just being seen. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
I
a
did not
pretty
realize
privilege.
That's wielding your power, yo.
It's
That's
being seen, not heard. It's smiling and extra.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. For those that can't see us, everybody just turned to look at me because I have been very quiet in this conversation. And I feel like I have been quiet because I feel like this is a conversation being led by mixed women. And these mixed women do not
I'm
have
black.
the same experience as I have.
I don't have a flag either.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but they have been it's been the majority of the conversation. And I'm just like, huh. But because these are people that if I'm out with them, everybody in here is more desirable than I think that I am. Like everybody in here is somebody's first choice.
God damn, bitch.
That's crazy because I think the same
But
of
you
you.
know what?
Right,
I did it.
you have the ass, the
You know what I'm
titties.
saying?
I can't
She
grow
just
my
growing,
shit anymore.
And she twerk.
And she
And
twerk.
she twerk.
And you island.
But I feel like those are all things
Aren't your
that you.
eyes light
But I feel like
skinned?
those are.
Ain't your eyes
Light skin eyes. Light skin eyes.
But I also feel like
No,
those
I
are
get
all
it.
things that you don't get from me within first look. If we're talking about first look, and I feel like that's what pretty privilege is, it's the first look. It is
You know her for the person and not.
once you know me for the person, oh yeah, I'm fucking wonderful. You feel me? But upon first look, I'm not the first choice.
And I felt that way too because like with having skinnier friends and me being
Ooh, let's not even talk about size.
like
Well,
size.
bitch, 'cause-
But like, I'm only just like desirable because of my titties. And it's like after that, I'm 5'10". Let's start there. So I am the size of an average man. I am not seen dainty. I am not seen as feminine, to some men. And so like right now, like my friends are like, you require too much. Like I wouldn't date a man that's shorter. And it's not because I'm like, oh, he's short, he's less than a man. I will feel him less than a woman because I already feel masculine as a woman who wears a size 11 shoe and is 5'10".
Ooh, this is a conversation. I love this conversation.
For real.
Yeah, so like I feel like when I go with my friends, I'm never the first choice. It's the skinny one who's shorter and petite and lighter voice and all that, and it's me who is more assertive. I'm not the first choice.
With my
Ever.
friends, I'm never the first choice.
You my first choice.
Y'all think this, but I'm not. Trust. They ain't talking to me.
I'm
Trust.
talking to you.
You get hit on by comedians? I wish. I mean, shit, damn. I wish I got hit on by a comedian.
No.
You're right. I don't want that.
Like,
I don't
do
want
you
it.
want that?
Don't want it. I don't.
Why do you think that you don't get hit on by comedians in the spaces that you've been
Frankie
occupying
gives
recently?
off a very masculine energy.
Thank you.
That's
was-
it is.
Let me tell.
I
I
was
want to
wondering
share a
if she was
story.
going to.
Hold on, let her share. Cause
Just want to share a story. Last week in my therapy session, I mentioned Frankie, and by how I mentioned her, my therapist asked me, "Frankie gives off a masculine energy."
Mm-hmm.
Frankie is not there.
Yeah.
I only spoke about Frankie.
What'd you say, though?
I just felt like, I guess maybe how I placed her in the situation. Like I talked about her weekend at the comedy show, and I can't even put my finger on it how I probably described you, but for my therapist to have gotten a sense of, hey, does Frankie by chance have a masculine energy? I'm like, yes. We call her fuckboy Frankie.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
for Khira to say
So
that,
it can be
I agree.
intimidating, probably for some guys.
Absolutely. But then when I make them laugh, they're like, "Oh, you
cool. Because I get that too. It's like, I have, this face is bitchy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm look
RBF?
like, RBF is strong.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not thinking, if I'm just like sitting here, it look like, what's wrong? Nothing, motherfucker, I'm thinking about what I'm about to eat. like if I'm not like actively smiling, people think I'm upset. And so therefore,
I mean, yeah, I didn't think you liked me for the longest time.
you know how many people say that to me?
I still be wondering. I'm like,
bitch, I know you hear it,
Yeah, so I get that a lot, and I don't even be thinking about you. My guy, I be thinking about what I'm gonna eat later.
I was like, oh my gosh, she said, call her. We're going to the nail salon to get pedicures.
I saw that. I said, "Dang, FOMO."
Your toes are already done.
Yeah, they are. I'm good.
But yeah, so I get that, and then like people, every time I meet someone and they become my friend or associate, they be like, "Damn, I thought you was mean as hell." I am, no, but I'm not, and so they think that like, you cool, and then I feel like I get the funny fat girl or whatever like syndrome with it, because it's like, why you make that face?
Well, I mean, did someone call you funny fat girl?
No,
or
I
you
just- that's my feeling.
You know what's funny? I don't think that's funny. I think I'm a funny fat girl. I don't see you funny fat girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was say I feel like I'm a funny fat girl.
Okay, so
Y'all are not funny fat girls. Y'all funny.
FFGs.
But
no.
We gonna
So,
get
okay,
shirts.
but you, okay. Let me take it back. Let me take my words back. But you know how in the movies you
I know
have
what you
the
mean.
girl who's a bigger girl, or she's or
the
not even the
typecasting.
not
It's
even
typecasting.
Yeah, I feel like that. Not necessarily that I'm fat. I'm hilarious. Don't get it twisted. But it's just that I'm that girl that's just there for the comedic relief.
She's so humble.
I'm so humble. I'm hilarious. Like
I just want to let everybody know
so
she's
modest.
not the comedian.
That's the part.
That's the part. I'm not the comedian. I don't ever think I can do nothing like that. Like, I'm funny in the moment. But what's funny is I say shit that's real and y'all just laugh at it.
No, it's 100% unfiltered, and that's what's appreciated.
Right. And so I don't want to offend anybody. Like, you know, if you're funny, shout out to you. But I am, but I am, like, I'm not skinny. Like, I might, so I had to have that self-talk too. Like, you're somebody's body goals.
Yes.
I'm somebody's body goals. I'm not my body goals. But, I mean,
That's
titties,
true.
I'm
That is
somebody's
real.
body goals.
I got ass and titties.
Like, I have, whew.
Oh, I'm gonna say this in Michelle Buto's stand up. She goes, "Y'all never think that you are somebody else's type."
Type.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that
I ain't found
She
yet.
That's
says she's
so crazy.
a government Beyonce, like government achievable
Actually,
Beyonce.
she was saying,
for government employees.
she's like, "I am not safe at a veterans
parade.
listen, old men love me. I don't know what it is. They
No
love
teeth.
me.
I
No,
never
they got
forget-
teeth. Damn, they not that old.
Frankie
Goddamn.
had to do with
But
no
they
teeth.
old.
coming to her. And I was like, the audacity that he could look at Frankie and think, yup, she would say yes. I'm offended for Frankie that he would think that coming to her was okay. And so, like, I get offended when certain men holler at me. I was like, did you really think? I know, like, I'm not ugly, but I ain't the best. But why would you think that you had a chance? It's the confidence for me.
He was so old. He was
He
black
wasn't even
man.
that old. I feel like he did a little drugs, so it made him look a little older.
No, yeah, missing teeth. But I was, it was cool. But he came up to me while I'm trying to check out, and he's
Then
like,
you couldn't even understand what he's saying because his teeth was gone.
of course.
He said, "What's his name?"
I was like, what? Y'all know I'm the
I said, well, okay, what's the name? Frankie. And then he's,
And I'm like, Frankie, what the fuck?
well, he say, can I ask you out?
No. And I was like, now I'm listening because I'm like, what the fuck he want? He was like, I'm like, excuse me, what, sir? He was like, can I get your number? And then Frankie did this awkward ass smile, and she was like, no.
Yeah, I just said, no.
And then I'm like, Frankie, run out the store. He's gonna chase us because some men you can't turn
here
them
you all
down.
go with
And you
the
can't.
speculation. We walked out. We
I was
walked out
looking for him.
safely.
I was on high alert because I didn't have my
She
gun.
was on high alert, and I was like, yo, it's
because
cool.
he might be chasing us to the house. I'm over here in the I didn't tell Frankie. I'm in the rearview mirror, like making sure because you never know.
But
just know Frankie always got you.
I still don't trust her.
I got you.
Let me do it to Alex. You trust me?
Oh my goodness.
Grab my thigh and everything.
But what y'all just talked about, how you got the key to old men. You got the key. Who else? Who else?
African men love me.
African men. Oh yes, they do.
Oh,
You
yeah,
are
they
their
do.
type. And then you got who?
Nobody.
Girl, white man will do you so hard.
But I don't want
White men would do you so hard.
I don't want to be fetishized by no damn white man.
Are you happy?
I'm.
Is that what we want? Are those the goals?
Y'all gonna hear my mic get pushed?
I got over Ken a long time ago. A long time ago. I let go of Ken a long time ago.
No, I'll
I
dabble.
never wanted it.
I
I'm
need
sorry.
him
I
to
was
go
talking about
through
the doll.
a few African American history studies first before he can talk to me.
I just know he has a cousin, an aunt, a grandmother,
Who don't
somebody
like
down
me.
the
I
line
don't got
who
time.
do not fuck with black people.
Well, hold
It's-
on. My brother voted for Trump and did not fuck with black people for a while.
And he's Puerto Rican, my
And
nigga.
he's
Like-
Puerto Rican, dark skinned nigga. It's like,
But
it's-
you know, there's two sides to that spectrum,
Absolutely.
And I tell people this: it's like you got the Hispanics that are like black and brown. We are one. We all come from Africa. What's that? Menudo is chitlins, and then you got the other half. And then you got the other half, right? No, I had a parents like she's like, Menudo is the same thing as chitlins. We all come from Africa. We just do it different ways, and we just speak Spanish because we got colonized. And I'm like, you're right, Black Power.
And it's menudo in Mexico, and in Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico is mondongo.
Yeah, it's chitlins, but
it's
I
all,
digress.
it's all the same.
It's all the same. And so, fuck, I forgot what I'm saying.
But,
but
so
like,
what
but
do-
yeah, the other half, and you got the other half. It's like, forget these Negroes. Not even Negroes, niggers with ER, and like they think they're different, or they think they're better, or they try to separate themselves from
The city
the
of
blackness
Atlanta.
or the darkness.
the city of Atlanta.
No, them Florida Cubans.
Oh, yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst.
I'm sorry.
She's not Cuban. She's not Cuban.
Alex looked at me
If you're a
like,
Florida Cuban, we sorry, but like
but
the majority
y'all
of
be on.
Are we sorry though? Because I saw those rallies.
I saw their
Cubans for
concert.
Trump.
I saw their
remember
concert.
Latinos for Trump.
that's that other half. They want to be closer to the proximity of whiteness. I mean, and you got black people like that too. Like you said, your brother. You got the closer to proximity
can
of
I-
whiteness.
We
Can
come
I
with a
ask-
wet back, but as soon as we get dry,
And a good old American suit comes on. Dry myself off with
it just
oppression.
depends who handed us the towel. That's who we loyal to.
Bam.
You stupid.
This is for free? For free? See? Okay. America. I'm drying myself off if you guys don't,
Oh my
the visual.
God.
The comedians,
I was
the
not
comedians.
prepared.
You forgot you was gonna say now.
Oh, no, I wanted to ask though. What I did want to ask is on your census forms, what do you check?
I didn't fill out that
you
shit.
check Hispanic, but then what is the race that you check after?
Black.
Oh, Hispanic, but Asian Pacific Islander.
No, you didn't, bitch.
You lying.
I believe her.
You wait. No. I'm
You
sorry.
did it.
Do you?
I'm on FCAT test on my Florida State testing.
So y'all want to hear something funny?
You know what?
My
With
mom
Florida,
always-
confuse them.
My mom always told me to mark other. And I do.
They can't count you if you mark other.
That's what I'm saying. And then
But
my mom
that's
said
not-
they won't have that bias towards me if I'm other, if they don't know
That's
what I
the
am.
fear
But
talking.
It is.
Also-
I mark black, but my sister on her last job put white.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if it's something like the census,
Oh, yeah.
it's important for
Yeah.
us to really identify properly, because
Right.
that's how
I'm
they
not talking
funnel.
about that. I'm talking about jobs.
Yeah, that's how they funnel the money into the communities of color.
Yeah,
Is
but
by
I'm
knowing how
talking about
many-
jobs, not the census.
But-
So,
No,
like,
hold on,
I
but
definitely
back
check.
to Alex though. Do you really put? I want a clarification
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Well,
That's random.
Do you really put
Because
Asian Pacific Islander on everything?
I know my skin color is not black. It gets a little darker with the body hair, but I feel some type of way about putting white. I don't like to consider myself white, so I go with beige.
Yeah.
And so beige is Asian.
Yep.
I thought
We
oh,
don't
God, I thought it
condone
was something else.
racism in this
It was
podcast.
another color.
No, like I'm over here looking like you do look
Or
Asian.
like, I just and the thing is, I was so fearful, and I did this like ever since as a child. As I'm growing older, I'm like, oh, let me just check other. But as I got older, I changed it to other. But I wanted to discuss this with my parents, but I was so petrified because I just, as a Latina, like I just grew up scared of my parents to ask them anything about like, and I did not want to sound dumb.
Yeah.
But that's only been recently that they switched, like, because Hispanic used to be a part of the black, white, Hispanic, but then they moved it to it being an ethnicity where you put Hispanic.
Yes.
So that's only something that has
But
happened
then
in
they
the
still
last-
ask you
If
that.
some of
They'll-
those papers are even those documents are updated, because I still sometimes see it as a race.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. It
But a
just
lot of
became
people
a
don't know the
thing
difference.
that I feel like now people are like, well, damn, what do I put as my race? If my identity, like if my ethnicity is Hispanic, what then is my race?
Because a lot of people do not understand the difference between race and ethnicity. So
Even myself, if I can't say it, I'm not understand. I don't know what ethnicity is.
Ethnicity.
It's Honduran. You're Honduran.
you're
I'm Honduran.
Hispanic.
That's
So,
your
like,
ethnicity.
No.
the ethnicity is like
that
where you're
she's
from.
Hispanic or Latina.
Race is how people
Your-
perceive you, like what we said earlier.
Your
So like when
nationality
someone
would
sees
be
Mika,
Honduran.
they're like, she's black.
I thought so too.
Her nationality is American. If she was
Yes.
born in Honduras, her nationality would be Honduran. But ethnic, Honduran is not an ethnic group.
But why not?
It'd be
She's
South
Latina
American type
or,
of thing.
or Hispanic.
So it falls
That's the
under
ethnicity.
Hispanic.
I want to
That's the first thing they learn in social.
challenge that.
Do it now.
Because that was
Okay.
literally like that
Race
was
and
literally
ethnicity, that's what it is.
Okay, so I mean this is kind of off topic, but when Whoopi Goldberg got in trouble,
Yeah, this is off
What?
topic.
when
ahead.
Whoopi Goldberg got in trouble for her comments about the Jewish community, and she talked about
Was he Jewish? That's the one
hold
that's
on,
race.
wait, and so she talked about how
Ethnicity
the
and
Holocaust was race on like white on white and not an ethnic cleansing. And I was like, and then people got in an uproar about that because Judaism is like it's a religion, but
It's
it's
a
also an
religion.
ethnicity,
It's also-
like
yeah.
Hispanic. But that's not taught anywhere. It's something that should just be common knowledge, but I'm like, common knowledge to who? Because I found nothing wrong with what she said, because I was like, based on the education
When we
system,
see them, race, that's what they look like. They
they
look
look
white.
white.
They're white.
They're white, and that's what we perceive them as because that's what they move in the world as. But like I was like, based on the education system and how we have always been taught, there has never been a separation of Jewish and white. There has now been a
It
separation.
was more
of
because of
Hispanic.
their religion. That's like when you think of the Holocaust.
because
it's
you
like,
don't think of
oh,
Hispanic as a religion, but you do think of a Jewish person. You think they're like Judean, like it is their religion, it is their way of life. Like you see a Muslim person.
The propaganda was really fucked up too, because it's like, so when you think about it being like an ethnicity, if you think of it along the lines of, it's not the same, but I'm saying if you think of it along the lines of race, we're talking about physical characteristics. So during that time, how Hitler and all of them were portraying the like people who
want
were
the Aryan
Jewish,
race.
they were making mockeries of their noses. So they were like, there was propaganda that had really big noses, very big feet, a lot of like maybe hair or something like that.
I mean, they were compared
And
to
so-
black people also.
And so you're right, Krystle, that they wanted the Aryan race, and what the Aryan race is supposedly to make it pure is blue eyes and blonde hair.
Well, that's
when your
actually,
boy was not, he didn't have blue
wasn't.
eyes or blonde hair.
and that's actually a damn it, I don't
You know
know the
what?
word.
Trujillo, he a dictator in the 1930s. He ruled for 30 years in Dominican Republic, and he did an ethnic cleansing in Dominican Republic. and he would put white makeup on his face.
Ew.
And he was actually from Haiti.
That self-hate is real
Haiti.
sometimes.
You know what else is self-hate? Sammy Sosa.
That man looks like somebody dipped him in baby powder.
Listen, I'm so sorry
put
for
blue eye
his,
contacts on
for
him.
his skin loss.
But
So
yeah,
how
like-
has? Oh, my bad.
You don't give up all that melanin.
So real quick, I do want to mention something. You mentioned something about nose, and I want to respond to something that wasn't recorded. My mom, love her to death, but she is a more Hispanic looking woman than I am. But as I was growing up, my siblings are lighter than me. I'm the darkest one of the 4, and I was the brunt of every fucking joke. Your nose is so big. Look at her nose. And whenever you laugh, your lips are so big. Your mouth is so big. Look at her. And she would point, and all my brothers and sisters would look, and they would laugh. See, every time she laughs, you see it's a big mouth. Oh, she's got a big ass. It's all of the stereotypes and that conditioning. I mean, of course, I forgave my mom now, and she now knows. Like, she called me on some random shit. Random. She said, I didn't know you were black.
No.
I didn't know you had this experience. And it was 2-3 years ago. And apologized.
Which means she didn't know you were black.
She didn't know.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know if you want to. My mom did the same, like, not the apology for the black thing, but my mom was like, you know, both of our mothers are Puerto Rican. And so it's like, my mom's thing is like, you're not just black. So, like, when she would see me post things, you know, Black Lives Matter or black women are going to change the world or whatever, you know, she'd be like, you're not just black, you're also Puerto Rican. And I'm like, but Ma, you don't understand that means nothing to a world that only sees black or white.
Right.
That, and also people are not respectful of Puerto Ricans. They didn't respect the island. They don't, like, it's turning to shit because of the United States. But so my mom, explaining it to my mom is difficult because she's not only a Puerto Rican, she's a Puerto Rican who is white passing, who, when she moved to the States, she was very young, and so she was an English language learner. So I kind of understand that she needed to, assimilate?
Yeah.
So I get that, and especially, and I think it happens with a lot of cultures, but it happens a lot in Hispanic culture that when you assimilate, you get further away from the ethnicity
Closer to
and the
whiteness,
culture,
like
and
I
you get
said.
closer to the whiteness. And you know, I never saw my mother as a white woman or a white passing or anything until I saw myself as a black woman, and I was like, oh shit, Mom and I have totally different experiences. And the shit, you know, those characteristics, it was like, I think I shared with y'all that she took me to get my hair permed when I was like 9. And it was a very traumatic experience. But she always had beautiful hair, and my hair was always difficult to manage and hard to, like, style. And she used to hate doing it. And I used to hide the brushes because they didn't know how to fucking detangle my hair. And
From the bottom up.
I was fucking tender-headed as shit. The only one who knew how to do my hair was my aunt on my black side. And she used to braid that shit up all the time. But my mom would tell me when I went natural after I stopped perming my hair in my 20s, my mom would tell me, I miss your hair the way it was. You know, I can't wait to see your hair.
That's that pretty privilege too.
I want to see your hair. I can't wait to see your hair. You know,
Straight.
I miss your hair. And I'm like, Mom, this is my hair. This right here, this shit right here, this is my hair.
Right.
And then,
You know?
So I'll let you finish, but I want to expand on that with the hair, because that's a privilege too.
It is.
Like
It
with straight
definitely
hair,
is.
because like we all work in different spaces and let you come in with your straight hair. Oh, I like your hair. You look so pretty. I like your hair straight. And it's like, why I gotta get closer to Eurocentric hair, which is straight, to be considered beautiful or you to notice me? Like, what's wrong with my curls? Like, why? I hate when people make those comments. Oh, I like your hair
Yeah.
straight. Or when someone told me about my locks, what are you gonna do with your hair for the ceremony?
So,
Like,
I want to
Okay.
follow up with the ethnicity thing. I didn't know this. Your ethnicity refers to your background that includes heritage, culture, religion, ancestry, or sometimes the country you were born in.
right.
So I didn't even know it included religion. So when people say Jewish, it's not a race, but it's an ethnicity.
It's both.
Characteristics of your culture. of
Actually,
your-
Judaism is both. They're the only ones that are both. That's a religion and a race.
It's wild.
Even though we see it as white,
yeah.
And then
but it's a race.
But black Jews are not.
Right. And I want to give a resource Actually, someone else speak because I gotta find.
Well, I want to know how pretty privilege like has affected you in work.
At work?
At work.
I excelled. I'm gonna tell you what. When I went to a conference, it was a Black women's conference, and a Black woman on stage says, "If you are pretty, you better be putting on makeup to make it work for you." And I was like, and she was an executive. Yes, at a Fortune 100 company, executive. And she said, you see my body. You see how I look. We're all women in here. Don't get it twisted. You know men will attract to that. So fucking use it. And I said, get the fuck right.
Gasp in Spanish.
And I was already dressing up, but I said, okay, I'm going to really dress up. And I noticed that I got promoted more. I got more opportunities. I got projects funded. I got awards, even though I do put in my work. But there were other people beside me.
Notice you.
Oh. And then I decided to pass on my opportunities to people that didn't feel as confident, that didn't feel that they needed to dress up because they wanted to show up authentically. And guess what? They got denied projects that got approved. And when I handed it to them, they said, "Oh, we don't have time to do it. Oh, they're not going to be able." And I said, "Okay."
It's all about
real.
aesthetics. A man can show up looking any way that he wants.
It looks good on your
woman-
Instagram.
Yeah, it looks better on your Instagram.
I remember, so I think I'm on both sides of that. Like, so on one end, I remember being young and working at McDonald's when I was like 17, and they put me in the drive-thru window because I was pretty. And she told me that. She told me that I was pretty, I had a pretty smile, and I knew how to talk to people, so they kept me in the drive-thru window all the time. And I was cold as fuck because it was Albany, New York, and it used to be really fucking cold. So I remember that. But as far as like in my adult life, you know, I may not be aware of it right now in this moment. I may go home later and think about it and be like, oh, you know, that was an example. But on the other side of that, I can say that when I was a home visitor, we served 99.9% Hispanic people, right? And so our program, by policies and guidelines of Head Start, had to reflect the community. And so everybody that worked with me was Hispanic, Latino, the people who were the home visitors. The higher ups obviously were not. But the people who were out there in the field were. And so whenever the process was such that when you enrolled a family at their home, they were then assigned to a family advocate, which was me, and there were only 3 of us. So when they would give them my name, Mika is going to come back and follow up with you. They'd be like, oh, you know that, you know. And sometimes the parents, you know, because word of mouth is the best referral, right? But so sometimes the parents knew about me because of other parents, so that was good. So I came with kind of like, you know, I wasn't coming into a completely cold situation. But in other situations, they did not. And like I really had to go out of my way to kind of win them over because I didn't look like a traditional Latina. You know, my hair was big, it was curly, and they would always comment on it. They would always comment on it. And I remember that there was a little boy that when I walked in, he said the name, it's probably Guatemalan, but he said this Guatemalan word for curls to reference me.
Wow.
But it's the same word as you would use for like kink or coil. I can't remember what it was. But as soon as I walked in, he said that word. And I didn't know what it meant. And he was like, you know, whatever. He said the name. And he's like 3. And so mom laughs. And she's like, oh, when you're not here, that's what we call you.
Wow.
Just call me the N-word while you're at it.
There are infographics that you can research for if you want to know more about the spectrum of privilege, because it's not a monolith and it's not one thing, but the intertwined charter is one, and you can see a whole wheel of privilege and versus oppression and resistance, as well as your proximity to power. And it's a beautiful rainbow. So that's
I feel like we covered more than just pretty privilege. We covered
Absolutely.
ethnical privilege, all of those things. Skin color privilege. What's that?
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for that?
Like
colorism.
Colorism. All of
yeah.
those things. Anybody want to add any last thoughts?
I would just say, like, as a Black woman or a lighter skinned Black woman, I get seen as less aggressive or less threatening. There we go. I'm the less threatening black until I start, in quotes, acting black, or I get more assertive, and it's like, oh no, and you know, then you get white tears and things like that. So I don't know if you call it a privilege, but that's been my experience, that I'm seen as the less threatening black girl because I am lighter skinned. Until I start speaking.
I think sometimes I try to go out my way. Maybe it's too much, but I have a friend who told me, y'all mixed people do that a lot. You go real hard to prove you black. And it was like this thing where I like want to really
but that's your privilege because you're light skinned. Like, I can't prove, like she's saying she can in her way prove her blackness because she's a lighter skin, but a dark skinned girl could never come into a situation the way that you do, proving your blackness.
But what I was gonna say, I was responding to that because what I was gonna say was that I have a friend that used to say that. Because the example that I was going to give was like, sometimes I feel like when I'm around other women who I know probably, maybe they're not, I don't know, maybe we don't have the same privileges. You know what I mean? I try to go out my ways for them to be seen or for them to be tended to properly, or I even like advocate. I never mind my business. I've done it at the nail salon and everything, like where they tried to give them a color base that did not look good on chocolate skin, and I was like, and they were like, do you have something that looks better on my nails? Do you have something that looks better on my, for my complexion? And the guy was like, we use this for everybody. And so she was really uncomfortable, and then I'm like, yo, like, what she means is that not everybody has the same color nail bed. So do you have anything that would blend a little bit more with what her natural nail bed looks like, because you're looking at it right now? And so her being a chocolate sister, she needed something that was a little bit more on the peachy side, because her nail bed was a little bit more.
Everybody's looking at their nails.
Yeah, right. But my nail tech understood that because she mixed my nail base color for me. This is not it, but I have like a custom color for that reason. Representation is important. Identity is important. And when you understand your privilege, it's also important for you to give way to somebody else. So that's what I was going to say. I wanted to make sure I clarified that, because I fully recognize that I do have a privilege, that I can show up as a Latina or I can show up as a black woman depending on the day. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the situation. I could speak English if I want to. I could bust out in Spanish and nobody know what the fuck I'm saying too. I understand that that's a privilege. I try not to parade it in that way, because it wasn't something that I earned. It was something
for good.
Yes. I definitely tried to. And I tried to be aware. I really do try to be aware. So I appreciate even though I get to finish, I appreciate you checking me, but calling me
checking in
before I finish. But I'm just saying,
my bad.
I be aware.
I can't feel throat.
But it was like a trigger moment. I was like in the crossfire.
No, but that what was triggering was when my friend told me that, because he was like, "Y'all always do that, Sean King, going so hard for black people." And then now I can't get that out of my head, Khira. I'm looking at Khira.
Like, am I Sean
I
King?
can't get it out of my head, because every time I think of like somebody who, not all the time, but when I think about some of these people that are going hard, a lot of them are light skinned or mixed. And I'm like, damn, he's right.
Because they're able to be aggressive.
They're more palatable.
Because
and they're accepted into some
they're
rooms.
seen as the less aggressive.
There you go.
Black.
You're right.
These
Look
men,
how all the dots connected. You are absolutely right.
because I could be, even keeled, but let me be dark skinned. They don't want to hear.
Oh my God.
I mean, but those meetings I'm having,
even men, like a man would take a lot more attitude from you three than they would from me and Krystle.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then, hold on.
I know.
Since we're going there.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's spicy Latina.
Oh, yeah. It's a turn on. It's a kink.
And I'm a black bitch. I'm angry, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah, when I had long curly hair, I felt like I was really over sexualized. Like, oh, I just love your long curly hair. Cool, we've been dating for 2 years. Do you love me?
Right. have you noticed anything else?
Fuck you. Like seriously. So let's go ahead and leave off with this, because this is not to say, oh, we're prettier than you and we got more about. No, this is to say we are aware of the privilege, and yes, hearing this may trigger you. And be like looking at my pictures or looking at everybody else's pictures and be like, that bitch. But listen to and look in the mirror and see who do you have a one up on.
And
everyone.
How can you help them?
And how can you help them?
Yeah, that's
Be an ally.
Mm-hmm.
Be an ally.
How can you help? And if you feel like you are the one who is in need of the help or the support, how can we help or support you?
Right.
To say, hey, you have privilege. Call someone out on their privilege.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a great way to wrap up this episode. Again, if you ever want to get in touch with us, it is info@kinkdaf.com. That's info@kinkdaf.com. I am Khira. You can find me at Khira Haley, KhiraHailey on Instagram and Facebook.
This is Alex Barrios. You can find me at Alex Barrios Comedy on Instagram and Facebook.
And this is Krystle. You can find me on Instagram at KT06. That's KAYT06.
And I'm Mika at Bronxtress. That's BRONXTRESS on IG.
And I'm Frankie, Mr. Steal Your Girl, at Frankie Does Comedy.
All right. And we're
Kink'D as fuck.